Hi guys, welcome back to part two. In part one you see me deliver on a tactic board. Now you're going to see Mauricio do the graphics, and I'm going to talk through them. This won't take as long, but all the scenarios we talked about earlier on come on the graphics. So over to Mauricio. It's defending to win, and we're starting off defending early, setting a trap. So as you can see, the ball's rolled out to the 5. The 10 applies pressure and leaves the 4. And if you look, he's showing the ball on the outside of himself. Yeah, he doesn't want it to go back into the 4. As the ball is played, the ball's played up the pitch. Yeah, and the 8, you can see them all moving across. And as the ball's played in to the 11, as the ball's played into the 2, the 11 intercepts. Okay. So, very basic, and it probably won't happen. I've seen it happen at lower levels. It then puts you in a position to go and attack and counter-attack, okay? But really important to just remember the 10 coming out to the 5 and engaging, putting pressure on. Obviously, we've put a finish to that, and if you are going to win the ball, then you do want an end product, and we just see the 11 just driving forward and delivering the ball, and a 7 attacks the far post, and we said 9 attacks are near, as shown in previous diagrams. Okay, so very naive. If the 5 did play to the 2 and it was intercepted, but like I say, it does happen, it can happen, and it's just catching people unawares. Now, if you look in number 2 now, the ball does get transferred out, and it's not going to be as simple. The 2's not going to, let the ball get intercepted by 11. He or she's going to be on their toes now, and they're just going to drop off and receive it. So Mauricio, if you show me the second one, please. So again, the goalkeeper, everyone knows who they're playing against, good starting positions. The ball goes to the 5, okay? What we want the 9 to do is stop it being transferred across the other side. The 10 comes across and engages the 5. This time, they're not as naive. The 5 will play to the 2, okay? The 11 doesn't intercept it, but as that ball goes into the 2, you can see where the 2 can only play. It's really important to understand that now, when the ball's played inside, the 8 is on the front foot and he's positioned on the inside of the 4, and he just steps in and wins it. On this second diagram, we're showing the ball getting played into the 10, and then the 4 steps in and wins the ball and can break. So, again, just to reiterate, if the 11 gets tight, blocks off the line, shows it inside, then we can win the ball. And whether it's the 8 stepping in and playing against the 4, the 8 has come across because obviously the 10 has gone and engaged the 5. Moving on to the next scenario. Now the ball goes into the 5. Again, look at the 10, shut the 5 down. Look at those away from the ball. Yeah, look at the 7 coming across. Look at the 8 coming across, because obviously the 10's left the player that he or she is playing against. The 11's ready to go and play and press the 2 if it goes out to the full back. And obviously the 4 will come and engage the 10. The 9 for the opposition will come across on that side of the pitch. And it's important to see the position of where the 6 goes. And then the 5 will cover. And like I said, the 2 drops down to cover. Now, from that position, he can only play in one direction. Okay? So just have a look what happens. Players move across the pitch because we want to lock them in on that side. It goes into the 2. The 11 now prevents the ball being played forward to either the 4 or the 10. And as the ball goes back to the 5 will make an angle. Just roll it on, Mauricio. And what you'll see is now the 10 is ready if the ball does go into the 5. Again, if the ball goes into the 4, we can pinch it. But the ball's false backwards. And if it does go in now, the 10 may well intercept it. But worst way is he puts pressure on the ball. And that's really important to understand when we actually move. Yeah, when we're pressing, we don't actually press when the player's got the ball at the feet. It's as the ball travels. And like I said, you're in all these expressions. We hunt impacts. It's just a game understanding of when the ball rolls, where the ball can go and can't go. And then it's about just looking at the nearest player and saying, let me get tight. That's where the ball can go, and anticipating. Again, if you roll the action on, we're talking about defending the mid block now. Just freeze it there for me. If you look, that's the area where we're gonna win the ball. So now, like I said, the 10 doesn't go and engage. What you'll see now as it rolls on is the 11 will block the pass to the 2, the fullback. Yeah. And we'll obviously keep the play inside. Roll it on, Mauricio. And now you're looking is, yeah, the 11 blocks that path. And the 10 would come across. The 9 stopping the switch. Yeah. Now, if there's no pressure on the ball, he would stay further away. But now we're just looking as the pressure's applied. The ball gets played into the 4. Then the 10 is ready to step in. But look where the play can go. The 11's making the play predictable by showing it in now. Again, look at the 8 for the white slide across. Look at the 7 slide across. But as the ball's played into the 4, that short ball into midfield, the 10 steps in and wins it. And obviously that would allow for a counter-attack, which we go on to show them finishing it. If only it was that simple. But like I said, it's really having an understanding of midfield players, where they're marking and where it gives them an opportunity to actually step in. Okay. Now, as you look now, ball comes out to the 5. There's no pressure. We're dropping off. We'll let them have the ball. Okay. Again, it will be the 11 that starts to make the play predictable. The 9 stays away to stop it being switched. The 11 again blocks the pass off to the 11, to the 2. Once that ball can't go out to the 2, okay, what you'll see here now is the 4 just sort of clear some space. We'll keep the ball on that side. Obviously, the 2 can't get the ball, nor can the 7. You've got compactness in that central area. Yeah, the ball goes into the 4 now. Yeah, and from there, as you can see, if we can stop the 4 going to the middle of the pitch, the ball can be bounced out. So now as the ball's bounced out, yeah, the 10 will go and engage. And because he's coming from in to out, he'll force it down the line. And then obviously the 3's on the front foot and steps in and wins the ball off the 7. And then you're just ready for the counter-attack. Okay. Again, we've oversimplified it when you win it. But your immediate thoughts are, once transition occurs, can you play forward? More importantly, can you play forward to the highest player up the pitch? Again, dropping off, letting them have the ball. This is the area we're going to win it. 11's really important, instrumental in keeping the play and dictating where it's going. And that's on the inside of him or her. That's the area we're going to win it. And if you look, we're congested on that side of it. It's very compact. Ball goes into the 10. The 4 doesn't step in and win it this time. He prevents the opponent from turning. And it's important now for those players in advance of the ball, when the ball goes behind you, to actually just turn and spin and tackle from the front. So we've got pressure from behind, and we've now got pressure from the front. 10 regains possession, plays away, he's facing back to the 3. And again, we'll have to go backwards before we can go forwards. But again, can we play that ball in to an advanced position? So not too much emphasis on really important. Moving on. Again, we've dropped off. They're a team that wants to play out. It might be later in the game, we're fatigued. We can't press. We don't really need to press. We'll wait for them to come to us. Again, the ball's on its way to 5. That's the area we hope to win it in. 11 sort of blocks the wide areas off and forces it inside. 9 stops the switch. The 4 steps away now for the yellows, which allows the forward pass up to the yellow 10. And if you look at the white 4, he's marking on the outside shoulder and just steps in, wins the ball. Again, looking to counter-attack. Ball's played forward to our highest player forward, and then players are looking to join and get up and support the 9. And we've oversimplified it by showing a finish there. And it's important to mention is the whole reason you need to win the ball is once you win it, that transition is really important. To win it, the other team are out of balance and we're playing forward. Moving on, emphasis on what happens after we win it, but making it real and saying as soon as we win it, to go forward. So, just in terms of what we showed you, the ball can be won high up the pitch, and it's important to have an understanding of setting a trap, winning the ball high up the pitch, twofold really. The opponents might want to play out. If we win it high up the pitch, the benefits are we're closer to goal, which is really important. And then obviously, if we drop off and we set a mid-block, it might be that we're fatigued, we're tired, we're letting the team come on to us. We could be a goal or 2 up, don't need another goal. But if we can get that 3rd goal, or a counter-attacking team and we're blessed with pace up front, if we do win it in these deeper areas, it's up to our 9, 11 and 7, depending what side it's on, to break and exploit this space that's been left in behind them. So many different strategies and ways to win the ball back. And I think as a coach that you have an understanding of, number one, why you do it. That might be your strategy based on the opponent and their strengths, and also how to do it. Yep. And that's really important. It's the how to do it, which for me is your role as a coach, to showing players who does what. What we'll do is just give some basics now, which weren't really too evident in there unless you really study the diagrams. And for me, is we need compactness. So when the ball's central, in a central area, we need our players to narrow off and occupy these spaces. Everybody talks about breaking the lines. So the most important line that we need to secure is the rear line. The most important space is the space behind our back 4 and in front of the goalkeeper. That's the most important space. That's why we position players on the outside of players if it's played in the channels. It's why we have cover. It's why we're compact and we're narrow. So that's the most important space. So when the ball's central, our players need to be narrow and we need to secure the space behind the back 4. The next most important space, what they're trying to get into, if they can't get behind us, is the space in front of our back 4. Yeah. So if we've got a 4 in there and they've got a 10, that's the space that we don't want players picking the ball up in that pocket, the pocket between our rear line and our midfield line. Again, emphasising why I like to play with a 1 and a 2, which will negate, hopefully, their 10 getting on the ball. Now, again, it's central. So if we narrow, yeah, it's harder to penetrate and you know, play these balls in between our players. And like I said, when the ball is slightly on the right, we want our widest player to take his or her position off the nearest central midfield. And again, if it's on the other side, the furthest player to take their position off the nearest central midfield. And if it is central, these can be quite flat. Yeah, they can be flat, close to getting in a line. The wider it goes, the more likely that these players are going to be, the furthest players away from the ball are going to be deeper. Yeah, deeper away from it. Yeah, so if we get beat in these areas, we encourage the ball. If we do get some pressure on and get it inside, like we've said, if we do get the play and dictate it and get it inside, that the players are not flat and square. Because if they are flat and square, they can penetrate us. It's really important if we are deeper, yeah, the furthest players, particularly central midfield players, will be deeper. So if the ball does go in these areas, it doesn't actually penetrate us. And I think there's some basics in there. Yeah, so again, in a central area, for me, it's really important that when the ball is central, that we narrow off, our wide players tuck in. And then obviously, when it's in a wider position, we make play predictable by forcing it inside. And those furthest away, yeah, would be deeper than those that are closer to the ball. So, in a nutshell, that's the big picture of defending high up and trying to win it early and a mid block. I'm going to talk about setting a deep block. Yeah, playing with a deep block. You may have heard the expression parking the bus, defending low, yeah, defending late, whatever your terminology is, but really setting a block, one where we drop deep, that's obviously conducive to a team that dominates possession and then playing on the counter-attack. So just what I'd also like to say is, after that, we'll talk about the way that you can actually work with your players in ones and twos and building it up to actually work on the techniques that are imperative to actually where to mark, where do I cover, okay? And that comes later in the series. But thanks again once for attending and listening. Get the word out there, and we welcome any questions you've got on any particular system or any particular moment of the game, and particularly around the 1-4-3-3 system. And look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks very much, guys. All the best.